You are tuned to Anubhav 2.0 podcast from senior citizens, catalyzed and supported by the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, Government of India, through National Institutes for Social Defense and Media for Community Foundation. The project is conceived and designed by Dr. R. Sridhar and supported by Ashish Tiwari, Pooja Murada, Sai Sudha, and Kaushalya.
கூடுங்கள் கேளுங்கள் நண்பர்களே, இளமையில் நாம் செய்ய நினைத்ததை முதுமையில் செய்ய இயலுமே என்று வாருங்கள் வாருங்கள் நண்பர்களே, கூடுங்கள் கேளுங்கள் நண்பர்களே. கோவைவானில் ஒன்றாய் கூடி சிந்திப்போம், கேட்போம், மகிழ்வோம், சிந்திப்போம், கேட்போம், மகிழ்வோம்.
Vanakkam listeners, here is an interesting podcast on how to quit smoking and stay healthy from a great man who served the country for 3 decades and almost 3 decades as a civilian serving the senior citizens of this country. Colonel Achal Sridharan. He was honored with Vishish Seva Medal by President of India, recognizing his exceptional service. Today, he is going to talk about his incredible journey where he had faced many challenges in life, including the pernicious habit of smoking. He not only conquered mountains with his battalion, but also himself by removing the controlling factor from his life. He is able to share with us his experiences on how hard it was or how easy it was to quit smoking. Unlike other people who would say reduce it to a half a packet or a few cigarettes or maybe 3 per day, he says once you quit, no looking back. Over to you, sir.
Time and tide waits for none is a very old adage. In life, nothing is constant and everything changes. So does fashion. I remember in 1967, when I had already spent 2 years in National Defense Academy, being trained as an army cadet, I picked up the habit of smoking cigarettes. It was considered fashionable those days to smoke. Those of us of my generation will remember that our heroes always sang duets with cigarette in their hand. I can't forget Devanand, Shivaji Ganeshan smoking a cigarette and singing a love duet. Most of the men that you met, you found them with a cigarette either in their hand or it was in between their lips. You have seen movies where the villain moves the cigarette from one end of his lips to the other end. That was the style in good old days when people did not realize what harm can smoking do to a human being. As time passed, we were told that smoking is injurious to health. In fact, such warnings became mandatory in cigarette packets. But for people like me who started smoking in 1967, the habit could not be stopped because once you smoke, you have the urge to have more nicotine. And if you try to stop smoking, the nicotine withdrawal is so severe that you go berserk and you don't know what to do. There was always a cigarette after coffee or tea or after a drink or for nothing if you are simply bored. Your hand automatically went to the cigarette packet you lit a cigarette and you smoked away sitting, even in solitude. Smoking actually is very harmful. A guy like me realized it much later in life. I got married in 1976 and within a few years realized that I have lost entire control over myself since it was my wife who was controlling me. Along with the cigarette, I found the cigarette to be the second competitor to control me. It became a subject of many arguments between my wife and me, and with two children having been born to my wife over a period of the next 6 years, it became evident that cigarette would do more harm not only to myself but to my family and especially to my young children. My daughters were toddlers and it did not matter to us or anyone in the officers' mess to smoke and be happy. The control of the wife is acceptable or has to be accepted by the husband. But the control by the cigarette on a man like me became very, very difficult. Dual control always creates more conflicts. I could not leave my wife and my two daughters, so I said, let me remove the second control which was imposed by the cigarettes. On 21st of January 1992, I smoked my last Will's filter cigarette and threw the butt away. I said to myself that I will not smoke again when I get up in the morning. Seeing this, my elder daughter gave me a slip of paper which she said to put it in my uniform shirt, and there she had written, think of us when you want to smoke. It was a horrible experience when the nicotine withdrawal started. I was not myself. I used to get angry. I used to feel miserable. I used to be moody. And I just simply did not know what to do. I never realized that nicotine can be so addictive that to leave it is next to impossible. But the chit of paper given by my daughter and my determination not to touch the cigarette again and avoid this dual control made me stronger not to touch a cigarette. Week passed, 2 weeks passed, a month passed. I realized that the urge to smoke reduced. I also felt like eating more since my taste buds were getting better. Consequently, I was putting on weight, or I must say, I started putting on weight. In the army, one had to maintain the weight. So automatically, to compensate for the increase of my weight, I stopped taking sugar. I have not touched sugar since 1992. I don't take any sweets, and rarely, if I have to indulge, I have a small ice cream, and that too vanilla ice cream. That is also once in a blue moon. I find that if I have sweets, it has opposite reaction on me and I don't feel comfortable. So consequently, I gave up sugar the day I stopped smoking. This has made me much better, feel healthier, I do not get the cough in the mornings or the phlegm which used to come from my throat. I felt better. I was not smelling of cigarette. My clothes were not smelling of smoke. And generally speaking, I found that I was feeling healthier than when I was smoking. To ensure that I don't touch the cigarette again, I became an anti-smoking campaigner. I remember I was in Defence Services Staff College in the faculty, and those days we were allowed to smoke both by the faculty and the students in the classroom. Of course, Defence Services Staff College is a prestigious institution for training middle level officers of the rank of major. And it is through a competitive examination that you get selected for this prestigious course. The commandant of the staff college was a Sikh gentleman of a lieutenant general's rank. He used to hold a monthly meeting of all the staff and the faculty members. In one such meeting, I raised a point with the commandant and everybody present that I did not understand as to why we are permitting smoking in the classroom when it is bad or it is injurious to health. People looked at me because my friends from the Army, Navy and the Air Force were part of me in 1967 in the National Defence Academy knew that I was a chain smoker almost. Immediately I could feel 2-3 legs from opposite the big table in which we were sitting kicking me on my shin. But the commandant saw reason in my point and he said, hereafter, nobody will smoke in the classrooms or the tutorial classrooms, and they can smoke only when we have a break after 40 minutes. That is when one period ended. We are not permitted to smoke in a SAN model in a course lecture when everybody was present. Slowly and steadily, I ensured that I could get more number of people to join my non-smoking club. When I commanded my regiment, a time came when there was no officer who was smoking in my regiment. Today, I don't find many people smoking. The cost of cigarette those days was only about 10 annas or 63 paise for 20 cigarettes of Panama, or 1 rupee 25 paise for a packet of 10 Wills cigarette. Today the cigarettes have become very expensive, but the number of smokers have also decreased dramatically. You don't find people smoking and walking on the road. There are laws prohibiting you from smoking in public places, and very rarely do you see a person smoking even in a cinema theater. And even if you have to smoke, you have to go to smoking rooms which are kept separately so that others do not inhale the cigarette smoke. Is it good that we don't smoke today? I think so. We never realized the importance of wellness. We never realized that our health is very important. We never realized those days that preventive care is a must if we had to remain healthy. We left everything to karma, including the ill effects of smoking a cigarette or having excessive sweets. But now I find even in the younger generation, not taking up to cigarettes. It is no longer fashionable to smoke. You don't see film actors, actresses, or TV actors or actresses smoking in public on the screen. We don't see anyone. You don't see many smoking except next to a pawn shop or a place where you can get a packet of cigarette. I quit smoking because I didn't want the dual control. But I must tell you that ever since I stopped smoking, I like the only control which is imposed by my wife. Thank you.
On behalf of Covaivani team, thank you very much, Colonel, for your valuable time and guidance for a healthy living. Thank you and stay tuned.